Let's get to episode 4, which was the last episode, which we're gonna talk about in a minute. So the synopsis is on Eddie's birthday, which is the father of Jamie. The Millers, and I think it was his 50th birthday. The Millers tried to celebrate like everything is normal. Okay, that's not what I saw. They didn't try to celebrate like everything was normal because when he opened up the card and he saw the card from the son, he looked very. He looked. He looked out of it. He's like, yo, my boy. Like his son's not here, and his son should be here, but he knows what his son's done. He's seen the video of what his son done. He's seen the CCTV footage of what his son's done, but it's like it's kind of a weird situation to be in. It's like your son drew that picture of him, so he drew the picture of his dad as the front of it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Look, end of the day, that's you. Yeah, to me that doesn't come across as normal to me. But a series of upsetting events threatens to send the family over the edge. Interesting words. Interesting trace of words. All right, so this is when they're at B&Q. I'm joking, not B&Q. It was it looked like B&Q. All right. Listen, if you know about B&Q, you know about B&Q. Do you know what I'm saying? You know about B&Q. But obviously, they were there for a reason, and the reason why they were there is because someone wrote on their van or sprayed on their van. I can't even say the word because of YouTube and that. I can't say the word. But yeah, someone sprayed on the van and they had to get it scrubbed off basically because him using soap and water, that wasn't gonna cut it, bruv. That's never gonna cut it. But yeah, that's one thing I got from that scene. But that's where they were B&Q. So this was so interesting. He initially asked him help, and he was the one that actually helped. And then, if I remember correctly, with this particular scene, he he's the one was saying, "Oh, I'm on your side. Like I know I've seen the evidence." He's like, because he's like, "I just figured out who you were." Blah blah blah. Do you know what I mean? He's like, "Relax, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Relax. You're not like he come there for help to help you to fix the van. Like he never asked for no help in regards to seeking, justice for his son and knowing what his son's done. It's like, does he feel like his son deserves to be in jail? Probably. You know what I mean? I mean, if you do something like that, you deserve jail. In fact, anyway, I won't go too deep into it, but even know what I'm talking about. So I just feel like with this particular scene, it was very interesting how it made it seem because it's like if it's public knowledge in terms of the media outplay of it, do you know what I mean? You don't know who's watching, you don't know who's reading, you don't know. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, social media is another thing that takes things to another level. Um, so it's just one of those ones where you're gonna have to look at it from another perspective. Like, think, you're there to do your job to help him, right? All right. This I found interesting because he's wearing these. I like for the longest when I was watching this and I was looking at her face, I'm like, that's. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, and I realized she's in Casualty. You know what I'm saying? And she's in Emmerdale. That's where she's from. But anyway, like for the longest, it clocked me till the episode 4 to realize I know that woman's face from somewhere. It's Casualty and Emmerdale. If you know, you know. And I don't even watch Emmerdale like that. You know what I mean? But Casualty, and the joke is, yeah, about Casualty. Who's got a tune called Casualty? Is it not Oxide Neutrino from Soul Solid? Who was in Soul Solid? Ashley D, aka Ashley Woods, who's also in this movie or this TV series. There you go. Like you can't make things up, can you? Like it's just it may sound like a coincidence, but because it is a coincidence, but yeah, man. It's obviously it doesn't. It's not intentional when it happened. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Yeah. Anyway, so he's wearing the shirt that that his wife got him. Do you know what I mean? And this is the part where, obviously they're just sad. Do you know what I mean? After the situation that they went through, um, in I'm gonna call it B&Q. Do you know what I mean? They had a dispute with one of the teenagers because he basically was I won't say he was chasing them, but they were obviously following him and trying to embarrass him, and he let off on them. Let me ask you this in the comment section below. Yeah, what would you do in that situation if someone vandalized your property, like, and you know who they are, and you see them? Would you, and you got kids, you got a wife in your van. Let's just say, I don't know, you got a wife, you got a kid, and you got another kid, but your kid's in one of them in the van or the day or whatever. Are you still gonna are you still going to are you still going to grips them up the way he grips them up and have to know to stop? Because it seemed like it's such a catch-22, because if you don't tell them to stop, they're gonna carry on. And if they carry on, the mad thing is you don't know what. And here's the thing: if you try to stop them, you don't know what they got on them to, you know what I mean, make things worse. Like, I don't know, man. You just don't know. So yeah, so that's the bit where he got frustrated afterwards. He just poured the paint on the van. Do you know what I mean? I said, do you know what I mean? That's it was tough to watch. I can't even lie, that scene, because with that scene, you don't. I'm not saying he he should be calm at all times and be composed at all times. I'm not saying that, but I'm just looking at it from the perspective of how do you protect how do you protect your loved ones in this situation? Because this clearly is beyond his control. You know what I mean? It's beyond his control. Anyway, let's keep it moving. So this was before. You know what I mean? I'm gonna quickly. This was what they were trying to rub off. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it moving. And you see what I say? He's gripsing up the person, the kids. So that was the other thing. Like, he absolutely. Some would say he lost it, if you know what that term means. He lost it, but did he lose it? No, he gained more strength basically and said, "You know what? I'm not having this. I'm just not having it. I'm not having it anymore. I don't care what the situation is. You can't be doing this to me and my family." Like, I'm saying things that are like content. It's not verbatim, basically. Like, he's basically trying to let them know, like, leave my family alone, leave me alone. I've been through enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get it, and this is what was so interesting, because even in one particular scene before this, he was he had he was sort of angry towards his wife earlier as well, which I found a bit interesting, because they're talking about the dynamics between, well, how is your father to your mom, this, that, and the third. And they mention a name in this particular series as well. That I'm not going to mention that, but basically, more or less, I think it was in this episode actually. No, I will get into it. Yeah, in fact, I can mention it. So, like, I just feel like this scene here. What happened in this scene again? I think I can't remember. I can't remember. We'll just keep moving. This is when she was trying to tell her dad something, and he wasn't really hearing. He was just, because of the questioning that, or the conversation he had with that guy earlier, the guy that showed that first. You know what I mean? He was in his own zone. So with him being in his own zone, it's like, how do you how do you think, and how do you navigate that? You know what I mean? Let's keep it moving. I can't remember what happened in this scene. This is where I think she called police, or she was calling someone about the van. And yeah, we're back to wait, hang on. So that was the first one, and that was the second one. Okay. Anyway, either way, where was I now? So basically, give me a second. Trying to do something on my other phone right now. All right. So no, look, this the whole series, yeah, especially this episode. I remember when they were sitting down having their conversation. I remember he said that they were mentioning about the phones, social media, how not having to spend enough time with his son. He did everything, but he failed. He failed as a father. Like it's very. It makes you think. Well, it made me think. Like, how do you, with technology always shifting and changing, especially with kids and all that stuff there, you got to pay attention to literally everything. And it's not easy to do, especially when you are, when you work. It's not easy. Let's be real. It's generally not easy. It's a huge challenge. So how do you navigate that? So if you're a parent, let me know in the comments below. How do you navigate going through that situation with your kids? Like, do you go through their phones, their social media? Do you know who their friends are? Do you know what I mean? Like, let me know in the comments below, because I remember I was trying to with my other channel, like I was trying to with a name, even with a name I'll put on this thing anyway. It's like I'm trying to figure out something. I was trying to figure out how do I, like, if I tried put it this way, I figured out the time, or I calculated the time most parents spend away from their kids. And then I realized I did the maths. I'm like, if they spend that much time away from their kids due to work purposes, and you got to think about how much time they get off in a year if they're not working in the school. Do you know what I mean? It makes you think. How do you spend time with your kids to actually know who your kids are? Because by the time you get home, they're they're either meant to be, they're either sleeping, or if they're not sleeping, you're either going to be sleeping because you're too tired. And if you're too tired, the most time you're gonna see them is in the morning to drop them off to school. Yeah, like, do you know how mad it is when I think about it? Like, there's so many things that I'm looking at. I'm like, yo, this doesn't make no sense. So then it makes me like think. Even the ending of this, I remember in the yeah, spoiler alert here. Um, in the when they were in the van, and the boy thought he was just speaking to his dad, innit? And he's like, he's gonna go guilty. He said, I thought about it. I'm gonna go guilty. So I was like, okay, this is interesting, because I thought there was a plot twist. There was no plot twist. It was simply that. And I like the fact that they showed different angles of the perspective of police, children, like the victims of the children, like the victims, the perpetrators, and then you have the parents. But then now you got the community. But then there has to be a part two, a season two now, because what happens in the courtroom? Do you know what I mean? What happens while he's in jail? What happens, like this is the other thing I wanted to see, like what's happening on a media display, because I've seen some things in the media where they try to portray a certain demographic when a certain incident happens versus another demographic when a similar situation happens. And I found it interesting that they had a Liverpool accident and they're from Liverpool. Yeah, why I say that is because Liverpool is an area renowned for certain situations. You see what I'm trying to say? It's not just London. It's not just Birmingham. Do you know what I mean? Scotland were pretty bad at one point as well. So Yeah, man. I just found it very. It was a very interesting piece of program or show or TV series or movie, whatever. Very interesting. If there's a season two, I definitely will watch, and analyze and give lessons in here and there, whatever, and that. And apparently, Brad Pitt's involved in this as well. So shout out Brad Pitt. Who knew? Who knew? Anyway, without further ado, we're gonna get to something else real quick. We're talking about TV and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, man.